world as a digital simulation, really, to digitalize, to steal life. It is an anti-life program. It's moving from carbon-based life to silicon-based life, to a digital twin of the world that they can control, that is disconnected from spirit.
I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. In the bright glow of the dawn, I see myself clearly, bringing in a new day. The old way of doing things is done. I don't care what you say. Monsters don't sleep under your bed. They sleep inside your head. And if you haven't done the shadow work and left behind is where you stay. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the street. We gotta protect plus homeschool. Our babies is a must. They not just no moms, but also no posse. Spola, worshiping pedophiles. Wanna feed our children's spirits to robots. Turn all of us from carbon-based to silicone-based. Should be where the shit show stops. Get back to doing for ourselves. Water system irrigation and grow crops. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. I'm saying I'm not some master teacher. No, am I some pastor or preacher? Was released represent with this passion to speak up. After doing 25 years in the beast cups. Realize they tried to teach us spiritual, mental, physical diet. They tried to feed us the fire of our ancestors resides in each of us. With that, I'm inspired to turn this heat up. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to war with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets.
We're really approaching almost like it's a Frankenstein moment. And they're framing it to us as, innovation, right? We should all be so excited that this is happening. And, I equate it to like the golem bringing in like these robots. They would like to feed our life force to learn us in every tiny detail, not to empower us, but to actually transform us into a robotic simulation that is under their full control.
Come on. You almost there, bro. Almost there. Survive.
I do it die for Chi-Town. Who am I but Chi-Town? You young fool, I'm too fly to just lie down. Blue sky but high ground. My crown slash helmet. So my aircraft stealth spit. Can't be tied down like evil seatbelted. I look down, I see green like a Celtic. My heat pulverizes, the cheese is melted. The remnants of cash money, I dispelled it. You did the fusions in my eyes, I beheld it. The finger fucked that caused my hand, I dealt it. Felt it vibrate from the gut of my pelvic. The bust all some ices, unveiled shit. So radiant, I keep a dark room well lit. Cause you little goofies are well quick. Hot body for real monkey velvet. Body you not for Mars, your females clip. As a kid, all I did was fight. I did the bit with a knife. I know I can spit my flows to shit. To a flat though, haters wanna crucify a real man. I still stand with the stiller hand, but with Hiller man. It's not Cypress Hill, I'm Tuttle Sheep. I'm one tough cookie. I don't follow, I set standards. Catch me, you're gonna have to do more than scamper. Need more than scanners, I'm off the radar. I am as your goofies play God. Some worship the Christ, others pray to Allah. Chase a high, drink paper or bruh. You stagnated, well I straight evolve. At a rate, I'm data space A for y'all. Buster stuck in the case, face off. Active shape state is a fake, a fraud. Battlestar intergalactic, my mindset. Perfect comes from practice, so I rhyme best. I excel like I'm climbing the step. You got a lot to learn. I am adept, you of no concern. I am a threat. My measurement, width, lift, height, and depth. I'm just piloting up. Flying a jet, straight to adversary. Martial Chronicles like Ray Bradbury. I'm a thorough guy, goddammit. Symmetric apparel, I'm a fly bandit. Mohawk, aviators, aerodynamics. And it's like I'm an arrow in precise transit. A Christmas Carol lies what your fans get. Your rules and pearls what I transmit as a transcript. Or I just spit it off the top. It's either shit or get off the clock. This shit
Sounds so good, ain't it, bro?
Everybody wants to get his own too rich, and then they want the other little people to never get a piece of the pie. And go for you niggas that think that y'all big too. I understand this. That's why you niggas in crackers can't stand me. You niggas just know that I know you can't do nothing if you're broke. Listen to me, young people and old people too, mostly black people. I'm talking to you.
So, y'all really thought that I was done with y'all. Nah, I'm really down on y'all. Fellas up. We're not going back and forth about this or that, whether your word is bond or whack. Here's a big fat, yellow, white, red, brown, black. Mau Mau, Big Mac, but the earth is round or flat. We want our shit back. Enough with the chit chat. I see through the side ops. Looking past the shine spot. Third eye gang cyclops. I don't eat pork, but I will fry cops. For foes, my heart's cold as an icebox. I'm saying that ops. From the skybox, I got a scope on you pilgrims. The scope with some rules. Some of our folks are still dumb. Yeah, and blind to the fact that blood, we gon' have to spill some. Warrior spirits inside me. That's where it's real from. The world's a stage, page after page, script is played out. They keep us engaged, placate or rage. This is played out. Rules of a dying society should have been disobeyed out. Forehead and knees off the floor should have been prayed out. The draft is on, COVID's no issue. Could've loaded in tissue. Now it's control who blows the whistle to who holds the pistols. The debacle's about who owes who the fiscal. Disregarding the aboriginal issue. We're not going back and forth about this or that, whether your word is bond or whack. Here's a big fat, yellow, white, red, brown, black. Mau Mau, Big Mac, whether earth is brown or flat. We want our shit back. A fool is known by his speech, yet if I don't speak, I suffer defeat. I'm other than we, a sucker or me. Stand on 2 feet, one turn the other cheek. The wise man known by his silence, mostly disguised compliance. Silence by guidance from conspiring to novice. Other aspirants of violence, tyrants of fire. Striding that trans to height. I'm
I need to feel a chiropractor, man.
And environments of migrants, I'm hearing the sirens. Ring in my ear, they've got indictments. These pedophiles, queers, groupies, and hymen. Alignments, the assignment. I'm not the wisest, I'm not client. My refinement and confinement, the requirements for this climate. Y'all push all the paperwork, or y'all can protest, but they can't escape this work. I vow to progress, don't duck, no wreck. Drill music for real. My soul they don't possess. We're foolish with no deal. Ain't playing with none of them. It's personal, know what the business is. Big monsters come full circle, so vacate the premises.
Yeah, they try to hide it now. A lot to correct them on their fallacies. It's so weak, man. That's so funny. YouTube staff is weak. The agents they've hired like a police. They're emotional. You can't be professional if you're emotional. I would advise you to have a little coin, some kind, something that you can over a small period of time. But you can also, like, if you're driving, you can get work out here, even if it's minimal. I mean, it's just so we all giving a little something. That's all. Because nothing's free, you know that. And another thing, it'd be different. Like if we was on the East Coast or somewhere where there's a lot of trees up north, we could harvest our own stuff and even use pegs, which is even better than nails. But we're not there. You know what I mean? And though mesquite trees are very strong, I mean, whoa, I mean, these are not big enough to harvest for. I mean, you can make something, but you couldn't make what we're gonna make. You know what I mean? So we chipping together, though. You know what I mean?
Shines your symbols for the conscious minds, y'all. And with that on the temple, draw. I had a vision the past night, yeah, a circle.
Yeah, right,
created
Wavy?
successful
What's going on?
reality
Hey,
from a
Marcus.
virtual now. How? Stand on my square, cause they
Oh, yeah,
used to
see right here.
power them saying little sneaky
Yeah.
breezies that'll hurt you. They smile all up in your face, all up in your space. And I ain't talking all bras, but dogs with whole trace. So I walk tall kittens while y'all cross slow race. I stay focused on walking through them tall
I had a
blue
crick.
gates. Draw magic circle
I
around
did
me.
something,
They keep
but,
me
you
from
know.
harm. The law fat checks purposely
That's
repeat
not
me.
the
I'm
reason
calm. Water, fire, air, earth, turn me from that peace to a bomb. Blow the joint to split the range, the point, the centimeters. I've encompassed my inner demons. 490-degree angles, guarded by angel of shiny elite angels. Thank you, and I
The porta potty this morning was twisted, damn near almost all the way around. And it was, you know, I went ahead. Well, actually, was it the other day? The other day. Not the other day, when we had the high winds. It was twisted around. It was the front was facing like the shit. I went and it ain't light. And I cranked it back around like I was, 20 years old again. And I didn't warm up or stretch or nothing. And I felt it right away. I was like, oh, here we go. So it is what it is.
Spit flows, dope man, fly in it.
But in a couple months, that'll be a thing of the past. I don't care because I push on my truck. I lift the back bumper. I do things that most people won't do because I know that power or real strength has nothing to do with the young mind things. It's different, deeper. So, but the body will still let you know if you do something, you know what I mean, and it ain't warmed up. Sometimes certain things, the body's got to be warmed up.
Chill at Southampton, kept smoke, stay high. Years later, he's the same degree, just gained density. Gave my synopsis, he's hostile. I prayed I could say I behave by locals. I've raised my moral ground, way high my character. Stay fly, the conduct squared up. Self-esteem, the day sky. New God on what the world's been waiting for. The days now, lay out then. I don't abide by the same ethics. They feign respect, yet obtain the credit for keeping the bliss erect, but with strange methods. But the epic of my name will reign and remain. Epic to prescribe my passions, my squares, my lift. Ask, is it worth the ride? Yeah, it's rare, I spit. But the beach
I'm gonna lay out the little grounding mat.
My shit. It hurt, I cried, this kid, and then it tried to eclipse my soul, bounce back from it. Announce it, I'm done with being the sacrificial lamb. The jungle, I run it, thus.
I'm gonna lay out my grounding mat tonight and just stick under the quilt and on it to see, just to see. All right, so I got the, oh my goodness, where's the wire? This is what I'm talking about. Jesus Christmas. Oh, here it goes. So this is the grounding wire. It literally just plugs into the ground. That's all it's doing, is grounding. And it works on your energy. Yeah, it's pretty weird. So I'm gonna try it tonight. Plug it into tap it into one of the what you call it. And I'm not gonna wrap it around the bottom of the cot. But this is where it plugs in at, and literally this is the part that's facing up, and you lay on it. Okay, so I'll let you guys know. Yeah, in the AM, I'll let you know. So it goes just like this, and then these wrap around. If you have a twin, I guess, would wrap around that part. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna lay it off over it, and on top of the sleeping bag. Yeah, I'm not gonna get in the sleeping bag. I'm supposed to sleep under the quilt. It's supposed to be like 40 or something like that tonight. So that's more than all right. Enough for the quilt. And yeah, and I'll let y'all know. When I set it up, I'll let y'all know tomorrow. What kind of rest it affords, all right, and how I feel.
The only people who could have any harm coming to them are those who oppress.
I would say it's far from the 7.32 hertz of the earth, like laying in a field of grass or comfortable dirt. It's far from that, but I gotta see. You know what I mean?
No surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, make no surrender. It's time for a change, gotta bounce up. The oppressor's about to get tossed up. I'ma lay him out, execution styles too late when apologetic claim. You wrapped in a cloak of flame, by God, it's overdue. Your time is in the end. Locked out, silent without sin. You put me on the better for justice to win. The oppressor's about to get rolled down. With suppressors attached in a war zone. Revolution can start in the era zone. I'm a messenger prophet like Farrakhan. Backed by the honorable, who sits at the pinnacle. Who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the pitiful, sinful. My thinking is critical. I'm just ventilating of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the black blast and kill this. Don't take any type of skill. No, I'm ill of all citizens who haven't took a stand or kneels too late when the caps get bills. Don't believe it till you see type. Going hits close to home. You gotta act the bone when it got the dome. When it's on the zone, all red.
Drink it all down, water.
That's so good juice. Given the right, so you better be ready to ride tonight. On the way to the dawn daylight, we gon' let him out, so gon' pass the kite. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, need no surrender.
I gotta take my fish oil, I forgot.
No weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, need no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, need no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, make no surrender.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business, you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Push, 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 push. Step, step, step. Crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped.
Yo, man, it's I be hitting, yo. Let me see something right quick, excuse me. Let me get this read on. Yeah. Stupid. Oh, I gotta quick my back. Oh my God. I know ToLU'S ROOTS-N-TINGS, I know. What they send me? Master. Oh, okay. An elite exposure. What's up, brother? Okay. Oh, I'll check that out later. What is that? Let me pull up. I gotta bring some clarity to something. All right. Before we into this week. Let's put it on. What? there's a lot of people going kind of hard on this DEI thing. What is that? The diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, inclusion. First of all, if it wasn't for APAC, well, the forebearers, Herzl and so on, it would not be required. And if they would tell the truth, most people wouldn't be ignorant. Things would be relevant. But even with that, we've always gotten along well as far as compared to the minority. The majority have. See, they know how to focus on the minority and it be the bigger vice. And I'm always expressing to y'all, it is not the majority. Right now, how many police officers are there in so-called America? I'll help you out. I'll see what it is today. I actually know what it was last year. So right now the number is at a little over 800,000. There's over 340 million of you. But because you have this minority group of ignorant in the color spectrum all the way through, y'all keep giving power to those who have no power over you. There's a reason why I read these things. It's not just because I want to give you some fantasy to dribble over, okay? Okay, it's for you to fact check some things and to pay attention. How does somebody be born here, go to school, go in the military, regardless of the different periods, have these ideologies that are baseless and unfounded, and they turn around and join the police department and then act like an absurdity? See, it is for the citizens to be safe in their travels and to be protected to get home. So when you hear police talk about, they push this crap, we have to be safe so we can go and do our job. No, we have to be safe so we can give to the American cause. See, y'all have become so diluted, you can't even shake the stank and the stench of those who have become perverse. No, literally. I watched some idiots in costume and with their big jawbone, right? In South Carolina, or was it called South or North Carolina? Dealing with this, and the brother should have said New Eureka, and he just sounds so, a lot of you Puerto Ricans sound kind of stupid most of the time. You just need to, either you're indigenous to these Americas and islands, or you run around with that Espaniola is over there, across the water, all right? So, all right, let's get it, talking about, well, it is made to speak a language, but you act so stupid. So, the brothers from New York is down there, and they set up an ID checkpoint, which is not even lawful, not even constitutional. So if you want to sit here talking about the great America and don't cross the thin blue line, maybe y'all need to learn how to police walk or something. I don't know, because it shows the deep absurdity and the pure stupidity. Now, there are those who I know who, fabulous job, and they need to be protected, like Serpico. But the most right now are making $1. They don't care. That's how perverse it's become. So, you guys need to snap about your funk. Stop worrying about dumb little racists, because they're just stupid. The epitaph for this being plain stupid. All right, don't worry about somebody's religious background. It was never the problem here before until the government pushed it. You know, with Bush, now he's admitting that, oh yeah, it was a conspiracy for 9/11. Oh, he's a bum, just like the rest of them. But y'all keep leaning on them instead of leaning on each other. I just can't fathom and get you in y'all's minute. You know, some of you live in liberal states, and I adore you, but you're still you're fragmented. You're stupid. You know, I mean, I've listened to some of the greatest philosophers of your time, and they're pragmatic. They get to a point where they literally break down on stage and says, "I just cannot understand how the human being is so stupid." You got to remember, they have this embarkmentation that they've been on. Well, most of you haven't even found out that it's you that is the most important thing, but not divided or separated. You know. Hey, Fremont, what's going on, beloved? Everlasting. Cassie Lee, how's the weather? It's decent. It's decent. It's decent right now. It's cool though. But why? I don't like to ask why. You know, I'd rather ask my time of why. But why is it so important for people to be so competitive? And I know y'all will legitimize that foolishness, that foolish diatribe. There's nothing legitimate about competition. Not no way, shape, fashion, or form. That means that you are still part of the system. Everybody has a certain walk in this life, and it balances, it equals out. No one is over or under, no matter what those individuals do. You know, in this book, it's fabulous, and a few others, the Atlantis and all that, it talks about how even the principal chief or the kings and queens are right equal with their, if you want to use citizenry. You know, there is no one over. There are those who are guided to make sure things run smooth, to make sure in case something happens, everybody comes together. We're not dealing with that. And most of you are starting to wake up and see that. But how do you go and you want to do something lawful because you notice some bad things going on, and instead of dealing with that appropriately, you allow these weak-minded individuals, you teach them a couple of secrets about, well, they know that you can condition the authority. See, that is one of the things that are problematic now in this country. That's why America is pretty much 45th, the third world country. Because you got a fictional white superiority that's, please. You guys are at the bottom of the totem pole, so I don't even know how you're still running around with that. I really don't. I can't even fathom it. The highest IQ is our people. It's just all the way around. It is what it is. So we need to drop that. And that's not competition. That's just pointing out a fact. You can Google it. All right? The other thing is, all the other people in the world, you think it's balanced up when you attack them. But they come over here and look at you the same way. Mexican brothers, like the Mexican brothers said, and a number of them, they said, it's not that the so-called black people can't get it together, it's that you're not united. But up until the 1950s and even the 60s, you are the most united people. Look at you now. Look at you. Vivica Fox getting a BBL instead of growing old gracefully. Busta Rhymes being so saucy. I ain't never seen him with a woman. Even when I was living in New York, I ain't never seen him with no female. Word was when he got kicked out of leader, well, left leaders of new schools because he was a little, you know what I mean? Not knocking anybody for your absorbent attraction. But the reality is, you keep living in these lies. You tell one lie, you tell another lie. I mean, sooner or later, you're just living a lie. When you say that's the case, look at them. They're so afraid of me, and I'm not in fear. I ain't not stop nothing because I speak against the little dummies because they're stupid. You know, the enemy is stupid. And y'all's enemy especially. Stupid as all can be. You know, they gotta sit there and manipulate, and everybody knows what's going on now. Talking about algorithms and all this other bull crap. They're so broken, scared. It's not control, y'all. Fear is control. I mean, think about the men who abuse women. Okay? The women who abuse children. It's fear. Even the loss of, and yet we'll still exact that same loss. I mean, if I'm wrong, go ahead and push it. You know, if you are a major in sociology, I would like for you to give me some books to go and read. I have a good amount of them, but if you, I appreciate it. And psychology. I was at the gun range. I got a mouthful of dirt. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. I'll keep that to myself, but I'm just putting it out there. Let's get ready to get into reading. I just wanted to point those things out. It's not to be hard because the good guys, they know who they are. And yes, they're good guys. There's just no way around it. And there are guys who really can't say nothing because whatever they might be doing in the backdrop of things. Yet those ones who are just jacked in the head, come on, y'all. The world wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for them. Think about all the brothers and sisters who were murdered and lynched because some light-skinned woman lied, or some light-skinned dude raped his cousin, his sister, a baby, and then put it on, you know, George Jefferson out in the field attempting to teach some other individuals how to do the work, and then they're going to lynch the pride and joy, because I've heard enough stories when I was down south of people who were lynched and what happened to the people who caused it. See, you never hear those stories. Yeah, some of them got lynched. You don't even hear that. They say, oh man, we lynched, you lynched Mr. Berghan? Oh no, you can't, oh. And they're outside the window. And so what they do, they find the culprits that did it, and they get rid of them. They feed them the gator bait. Y'all need to look at these things. Y'all think it's just this, that, and the other? Nobody knew it until I told y'all that before melanated people dark melanated people were lynched, it was a majority of the light-skinned folk being lynched because they didn't want what was about to happen. And then, right along with us was the Chinese and the Mexicans. But you have a hard time, and then with the Mexicans not wanting the pain, they started lynching half-bloods too, Chinos, the Chinese, and they went underground. The Chinese were considered black, y'all. Well, you want me to go ahead and share documents? The Japanese were considered white. Africa, nobody was considered black or, well, white, most of them. Because I've seen the visas. I've seen the paperwork of those who went here to be able to identify them, the royalty, from the Negro. I crack my back. Anyway, let's get into reading. I just wanted to share that little bit of stuff so you can have something to research. All right? So, yeah, I will be utilizing this tonight, and I'll let you know. And if I don't let you know, that means I got fricassee. It only goes in the ground, so nothing's going to happen. So I'll let you know how I feel throughout the night, okay? So let's go ahead and get to my journey to Antarctica, crossing the first dome by Claudio Nocelli, Nos Confundum in Spanish language, no confusion. And there's the brother right there in Antarctica. He was actually on a ship in Antarctica, okay? And it's good to see you guys up in here. Anybody else up in here, you guys go ahead and speak. You can greet everybody. It's all right. Otherwise, it's not a bad thing. So we're at chapter 3. All right, we read the plan. We read the journey to Antarctica begins. So right now we're at the encounter with the strange organization Corpus Erectum. We're going to read that. We'll let you know beforehand because the first one's kind of not long, but it's a few minutes. And then we're going to get to the road to the end of the world. And this one is really short. So we're going to actually read chapter 5. Oh, that's a page and a half, about 4 chapters. Okay? I know the music be hitting, right? Marcus, the music be banging, right? So anyway, let's start with chapter 3, the encounter with the strange organization Corpus Erectum. The journey begins to become a reality. At 10 a.m. on a Tuesday before the end of November, I received a call from a person who said his name was Clark from the organization Corpus Erectum. He invites me to a restaurant to meet him because he had something very important to offer me. I told him that I was about to leave on vacation, and I even named my friend so he could go in my place instead. But he insisted that it would be a few minutes and that I had to be the right person to meet him because the offer had to do directly with me. I really noticed all this quite suspicious. But it was not so unusual considering that the last deliveries, I think he should have put sound, but it is what it is. That the last deliveries had such repercussion. I mentioned that the person Clark was going to offer me some kind of job that I was clearly going to decline in a respectful way. But I did not think it was bad to go to such interviews since one can also be in good relationship with another company, and in this way, also, why do the pages want to stick together? I had it all lined up. Anyway, also improve the link when it comes to work. Now, my position had to do directly with relationships and links with other people who led companies. And in short, I agreed to meet at noon that same Tuesday, and I set out to perform tasks quickly. My mind was already thinking about the well-deserved vacation coming next week, and I could not wait to make the meetings that I had pending to close everything neatly and dedicate a little to me. Now, I arrived at the meeting, and the place was completely empty. I sat at the end of a bar. I had never been to this place, nor did I know the area, to tell the truth. I didn't really go out much, and usually the meetings were held in offices. Now, this is Claudio. So I waited there for this clerk guy while I ordered something to drink and took care of my cell phone. All the notifications I had generated more stress for me since it was work I had to postpone. Knowing that during my vacation I would be thinking about all the work I was going to have to do when I returned or came back. Clark showed up 5 minutes later and then agreed and suggested that we sit more comfortably at one of the tables by the window, which would be a booth. And he was enthusiastic and told me that he was very happy to meet me, and I asked him several times about this company or organization that I did not know. Well, without giving me much detail, he told me that they were dedicated to the analysis of environmental data and did not want to explain much more. And I insisted. After a banal chat, without much more, he told me that he wanted to offer me a trip and that he expected a yes as an answer. And since it was a unique trip where I could not only rest from my daily routine, but also reach a point that few people had managed to reach. He really did not convince me at all at first, and I told him that I had traveled a lot during my life, and many of those trips were business, adding also that I was quite tired lately and that I was at a time where I preferred to stay closer to my home than anything else. Hey, Lucy. Oh, Mac, what's up? And he said he understood me since he had a life similar to mine, but insisted on the trip, adding that other important people from different companies were also going to appear. I really had no intention of traveling, nor did I see how it was going to be fruitful for me or for the company where I worked. And then he continued to tell me about this trip and told me that the destination was Antarctica. And then everything before, listen to this, then everything before was going to give a complete turn because it was a place I had always wanted to visit. And I knew that its entrance was quite selective. And from the moment my ears began to change and hear more about this proposal, right, Clark added that the trip corresponded to show the importance of the environment, and the right place was virgin lands like Antarctica. Its environment, the studies that are carried out there, and he told me that they were going to pay me good money and that the image of the company was going to climb with respect to the importance that we could show the world about the care of the environment and many other things that really did not interest me much. Now, the plan to be able to make such a trip was not hand in hand with any company, but it was something personal. I wanted to get to that place for a long time, but what convinced me the most was the following phrase of Clark. You will go on a private ship paid by our organization. It is not a cruise ship, nor a trip with a military ship that will leave you in some Antarctic base. This is something special, private, and quite secret, since you will reach points that very few have visited. Without further ado, here was the point that motivated me the most. Those opportunities were not given every day. I commented to Clark that I would think about it, but I was quite enthusiastic about the idea. Anyway, I was not going to accept such a trip from an unknown company, and I set out to search and ask about them in many places, both inside and outside the company. And we shook hands and agreed to keep in touch to see the possibility of arranging the trip. Excuse me. At that moment, I did not analyze so much the consequences or dangers involved in such a trip, although I was still uncertain about the profit of such a company, in which important members of different companies would make a private trip to those southern latitudes. Something did not fit me at all. I talked to my partner about Clark's offer, and he told me that it was quite common lately to take the committee of a company or companies on trips, especially if it was a company related to the environment and the protection of natural resources. In fact, he saw it with good eyes to increase the prestige of our company and the focus on the future. I did not see it with business eyes, but on the contrary, as a different trip to an area that always attracted my attention and that few had visited. Undoubtedly, it was something that happened only once, and I felt somehow lucky. Time went by. The people around me had given me good references about the company to which Clark belonged. This is a research. I had also seen good references on the internet, and the desire I had to make The desire I had to make this trip led me to accept Clark's offer, whom I notified via email and then by phone. Clark told me that the trip would take place in early December, and the boat would cold, and the boat would leave from the port of Usuria in southern Argentina. So he would schedule a flight to Buenos Aires and from there directly to Urussia. But not to worry, because they were going to take care of all the paperwork and needed to be done previously, as well as accommodations. Now, when I asked if anyone else would be traveling with me from other companies on the same flight, he seemed to give me confusing answers or avoid the issue. So I didn't take it into account then either. Now we go into the road to the end of the world, from Buenos Aires to Urussia. The day of my trip had arrived. I had said goodbye to my companions and headed to the airport to catch my flight to Buenos Aires, and there, after a few hours of waiting, I would make the transition to the flight that would take me to Urussia, or the end of the world, as it is known. I arrived in Buenos Aires with some turbulence but minor, and after a fairly comfortable ride, I called Clark to finalize details and let him know I was waiting for the next destination. Clark did not answer any of my calls. I thought it was something related to the signal. I also called the number he had left me, from the company, Corpus Etericum, but it was out of range. I figured then that everything was due to a communications problem between countries. I wouldn't be getting on a plane, and I did not give it too much importance. Anyway, I had the next flight number, and Clark would surely contact me before arriving to Ushuaia. Anyway, I sent messages to his number to let him know that I had arrived at my destination. I boarded my next plane and at least looked several times at my cell phone for some response from Clark and that they had not arrived. But instead, I had a message from an unknown number that said vessel 212-212 HOH. My feet finally touched the south of Argentina, and I took a cab to my hotel, the place where the company had arranged my one-day stay, and then boarded the ship to Antarctica. Clark finally contacted me once I was settled in the room. To my peace of mind, he told me that it was probably due to a signal problem and that he was not aware that I had tried to communicate with him, but that he had received my messages. I also told him about the strange message about the ship number, and he told me that it had been sent by his company, that this would be the ship that would sail the cold Antarctic waters. Now, the first destination would be Omega Island, a small island in the peninsula. From there, the destination would be another one going around the continent, passing by Port LaCroix, Vonatsky, Base, Ronald, Adelaide, and after an extensive tour, we would descend in the famous Ross Islands, look it up, and we would settle in McMurdo Base 2. From there, get ready for our last destination, another trip to the interior that he could not detail me. He could not detail me for the moment. Couldn't give details to. The mystery about a trip I was about to make, where few had arrived in an unknown and difficult to track vessel through frozen waters, did not really please me, especially since I needed to give the destination to my family so that they would be reassured. But Clark reiterated that he apologized, but that it really depended on the weather, and that once there on the boat, we would know everything about the final itinerary. After a not so long talk with Clark and then with my family, I got ready to rest, because besides being quite exhausted by the flights, I also needed to recover energy for the next day's big trip. We get into chapter 5, and this is where it gets a little... Embarking on a military vessel to Omega Island. A military vessel, and it wasn't supposed to be that. 212, all right? 212 HOH vessel. I left the hotel very early in the morning, and the sun was just beginning to rise. A black car was waiting for me at the door, and it would take me to the port, which was really very close. A huge cruiser was there, as well as several boats. I looked for some identification with the 212 HOH that had been assigned to me, but I found absolutely nothing. A person with a blue cap approached me asking for my name and then asked me to accompany him to a large dock. He came back to me and said, "There is your ship, sir." It was a gray military vessel which had no insignia nor name. Some other people were also waiting to board, or so I assumed. So I approached and asked them. They spoke fluent English, but I could tell they were not native speakers. They told me they were from different companies across the continents. I was relieved that other people like me were about to start this journey with him or me. I spoke for several minutes with a person who identified himself as Carl, who was also very excited about the journey we were about to take. Now, there were military personnel inside the ship, as well as some people who said they were scientists and that they were going to accompany us to our first destination, Omega Island, and that they would divide the group since there was another group waiting on that remote island. Once we all entered, the boat quickly left that port, and without any delay, I said goodbye in the distance to the beautiful lands of Ushuaia that I had not been able to spend so much time, but I promised to visit them again soon to enjoy a long stay. Once we were away, a drizzle began to fall, along with the fog that existed by then, and the view of the city was no longer on the horizon. I felt some fear of this whole trip, but I had to enjoy this unique experience. Plus, the people on board were very warm, and everyone was in jubilation. I'm going to read 6, okay? Storm and swell departing for the Antarctic Peninsula. The timid drizzle was starting to turn into a big storm just 45 minutes after we had left the port. Our cell phones had no signal, and the boat was starting to move a lot. I tried to think of other things as well as talk about business and banal topics with my fellow passengers. The military men inside had asked us some questions before leaving, but they were helpful. But not before people, the 2 men and 2 women, who said they were traveling to join the ranks of the Antarctic base and the geological and meteorological study they were carrying out there. They weren't asked. In December, in the southern part of the continent, is when the day is the longest, since it dawns around 4:30 a.m. and stays until 22:30. Woo! 10:30. Wow. I had noticed it the day before, but although it was 13:46, the sky was totally dark. I imagine it was because of the storm, but it is not that the day had darkened. But we were sailing only with a light coming from our boat. Absolutely nothing could be seen beyond 2 or 3 meters outside. One of the military men told us that it was common during storms like that there was nothing to worry about. But then he joked with his companions, and I could understand something like, "They don't know everything that happens in these parts. Better not tell them," and laughs that were shared by them. Some of my companions gave in to the swell and preferred to sleep. Not a bad idea, since we still had a long way to go. But how was I going to sleep in the middle of the ocean under a storm and with the boat going from one side to the other? It really wasn't in my plans to close my eyes. Seasick, huh? 15:35. The storm was easing a bit. Although the swell was more intense, the military never seemed to have the option of turning back in their minds. I imagine they were going to keep that in mind because of the bad weather, but we were still on a steady course for the Antarctic Peninsula. What I imagined would never happen to me ended up happening to me in the midst of this strange swell and my nausea. I closed my eyes and ended up falling fast asleep. When I woke up, I had no idea what time it would be. I looked at my cell phone, but it was dead. Before sleeping, I had made sure it had enough battery charge to last many hours at rest. I proceeded to connect it to the portable charger, but nothing. My phone showed no signs of wanting to answer. I wanted to ask other people, but everyone was sleeping. I then went out for a walk around the boat in the darkness of the night, although it was difficult to elucidate on the night and day there, the difference. We'll be going into phones go off, okay? The cell phones go off. And it's because of where he's at. Now, they all went to sleep. Isn't that surprising? And that'll be in chapter 7. And it gets better. It gets so much better. But right now, it's laying a format, what he had to deal with. And this is his story traveling to Antarctica. So be mindful, you know. Now, as a writer, y'all know that sometimes you dress things up. But if you're going to make it about yourself, right? A vision, and you want it to be as honest as possible. You have to grab the individuals, right? Hold on, where's it at? Let me see. Let me see where I put that. The following story could change the perspective of how we look at the world. Just as I previously published the story of the great navigator Wayne Morris, and our contact with his daughter Helen Morris, the navigator who crossed the ice walls. Remember reading that, right? Who continued to send valuable and unique information. I believe that this voyage may be of relevance and that it is the perfect time to tell it in detail. Although it has great incidence with the texts of the ancestral humans and all the movements that have been arising in recent years. I must also admit that this story found me at a very difficult time in my life in every sense. So, you take from the story what you want. You know what I'm saying? What's that? You know what I'm saying? And I hope, because 7, 8, 9, and even 10 is going to be pretty good. And I know some of you, do I believe this? I don't believe in anything. I don't even know what the word believe is. The word believe is structured in the fact that you don't know. So I have no knowledge. I wasn't there with him. I am entertained by his writings, and it's pretty fluent. Man, it's a spell check, but you know, that's all right too. I'm enthralled. I enjoy his writings because I'm aware of a lot of things, especially on my ancestor's story on my father's side. So you never know. You know what I mean? You never know. You never know. That's why I say it's good to always read, because you never know what you may read. You never know anything about the author, if they're still here or alive. And that's why I say it's important to look beyond where everybody else is at. Everybody just running around, you know, in that perfect little box, huh? Being put in and pumped out to either not question, and then when they do question, to be pitted against each other. And that is sad, but it's by design. You know what I'm saying? This reminds me of, now we're at change and so much channel going and other. Wonder if they have even posting book readings anymore. Yeah, well, I read a lot. I have a ton to read. And I really enjoy Claudio Nocelli, the Argentina brothers. I really enjoy Nos Compoundum, No Confusion. He has other books coming out. I have all of his books. I need to go down and dig those out, and I got 2 down here. I need to put with those, because I have 5 of them right here, and I've got 2, and I got a few more down, or in the house. So I need to put them all together and keep that all together. And I have three of his on Kindle that the books haven't been written, or he's probably in, you know, in the lieu of writing to publish. But it's phenomenal. And I have the Iron Witch Called, which is like the predecessor to all this. And there's another one. I don't have that book. I gotta look it up again. There's another individual, and then there's this lady who I was reading, and I need to get back to reading hers as well, which is phenomenal, about what you would say the fall of Tartary, a little whitewash, which is fine, and the Tartarians coming back or remembering, and especially those who were once quiet, reassessing their place. That's all I'm saying to that. Okay. But yeah, I appreciate anybody who who enjoys a good read. I hope it was decent enough. I don't want to, like, when I'm sitting outside in the sun, I can dramatize it because it's different. In here, my back is killing me, y'all. My apologies. My back is sore. and I don't have a chiropractor. And I can go do some little stretches and all that little goofy stuff and all that. I like to just deal with it until it goes away. You know what I mean? But again, I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen. We're at 54 minutes. I wanted to stay under an hour. If you want to donate, my Cash App is in what you call it, and what you call it, you know, the on the bottom there. And my back is killing me. It hurts, y'all, but it's all right. Yeah, I take whatever y'all donate and I match it and I purchase other books. I went and checked the post office today and there's not a book there. I'm waiting on 3 books. So, and I just ordered them, so it'll probably be next week. And I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep talking about certain things because we're dealing with a turbulent time, and most people think they're unaffected, and the majority of people are affected, one way or another, lethargically or whatever it may be. And I think it's best when you talk about it because, and I ain't talking about sitting up there with some idiot on their own damn psychotropics, you know, while they're writing everything down that you do, which is an experiment. I think it's important that y'all communicate with one another. And it's not about always looking for a shoulder to cry on, which is beneficial, but actually listen to the direction if you're aware of the individual you're communicating with. Because a lot of times, sadly, today, when we're communicating with people and something's going on, we'll communicate with them and they're not the ones to be communicating with. And you will feel let down, you'll feel betrayed. And those are feelings you need to get away from because it's actually more self-betrayal. I'm a sociology major. I'm not into these dumb HBCUs and all these fake colleges and stuff. I study on my own now compared to when I was in college. And I've learned a lot more. Jane Elliott, there's a plethora of individuals, and Manny P. Hall that I listen to a plethora of individuals. Some I will never mention here. And there are people who have sent messages to me in the past that I still keep, and I inundate myself with them because it's one thing to know that you walk around in rage 24/7. It's another thing when you have a clear understanding why, and it's not to press anyone or apply pressure on people. It is for you to be uplift self and to uplift others. And I am not talking about some fake jubilation and all this other jubilee crap. I'm talking about where people can sit there and they can be more responsive and responded to self and responsible to others and respond appropriately to them. So I hope this was beneficial. I hope you enjoyed the 4 chapters. They were pretty short, the last 3 that I read to you. And yeah, we'll read 3 more tomorrow. All right, tomorrow's Sunday. At least that's what they call it. And I appreciate you guys, sisters, brothers. I don't know where some of the regulars are. I don't know what they're going through. It's Saturday. I hope they're not out eating some processed fast food and drinking some bad alcohol, because you know it takes 13 to 16 days to get your body back in line after you drink the crap, especially if you're drinking beer and all that stuff that converts to sugar. You know, I mean, the enemy will never tell you things like this, you know. And that's why I say, look, if you're going to drink, be mindful of, have situational awareness, not just about placement, but situational awareness about now what's going to happen for the next 13 days to your body. I know you're going to continue to drink every day. Well, you're doing yourself a disservice. All right? Okay, see you guys tomorrow AM.